we'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's the end of a work day, and I guess within the next hour I need to go check on all the monitors and make sure they're in their hide boxes for tonight. Pete and I are sitting here. We're pretty close to sunset. Ooh, I just looked at the sun and now I've got there's a white dot on the camera right now. I want to talk to you guys about something that happened to me, and I think it happens to a lot of people. Well, I know through my research it happens to a lot of people. I had like a small stroke a couple weeks ago, before Christmas. So I mean, I've put out other videos since then for you guys, and it's been part of my stress that I've been carrying on. I actually visited with my family all through the holidays, and I didn't tell my sisters until either it was their last day here, and one of my sisters actually made it home before I called her and told her about it, because I didn't want to ruin anyone's Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that. I didn't want to be the subject of all their conversations, because I know my sisters and my parents would have like hyper focused on me getting to a doctor and everything. Like I said, it was a week and a half, 2 weeks before Christmas, and there were no other episodes after that. What happened to me, I was actually at a restaurant talking with a friend and the server at the restaurant, and all of a sudden my vision just tunneled in. Although I almost shut totally down. I could just see in the middle of my vision, and it felt like 2 minutes. It was probably only 30, 45 seconds, something like that. And I kept going like you're popping your ears, and the people I was talking to didn't even notice it happened. So it wasn't that obvious. I had no numbness, no paralyzation of anything afterwards. So obviously it was small, but significant enough that I was like, inside I was panicked when it happened, and it was all that was on my mind the rest of the night. So of course when I got home I did a lot of research and looking it up, and by no means am I a doctor or an expert, but all my research pointed that it was a stroke, and lots of people in their 30s, 40s, 50s have strokes and they don't even know it. And I know there's I don't want to ever get controversial about stuff. I don't want to talk about politics, religion. I don't want to talk about any of that stuff on my channel. I personally believe that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and as long as you don't force it on me, I'm good with it. And I'm not going to force my stuff on anybody else. Through my research, if somebody had a vaccine, that they are likely to have a stroke, but also people that have had COVID, which I have never been tested for, but I think I had it like 3 times, because I'm a Floridian and I wasn't safe. So you guys can fire away with your jokes. But if you had COVID, you're also more susceptible to having strokes. But that is only what I found from the internet, so we can believe it or not believe it, is just what I found on the internet doing my research. So if I'm wrong, blame Google, not me. I'm not stating anything factual. I did make it to the doctors finally this week, and I still have to go back in, I think, day after tomorrow for a blood test, because I didn't know you weren't allowed to eat or drink before you went in to have a proper blood test. I'm also one of those stubborn people that hasn't been to the hospital or to a doctor since high school. So I've made it 30 solid years without seeing a doctor for anything short of a broken bone or, you know, an injury or something, but I haven't gone for a checkup or anything like that. I do know that my blood pressure and my heart rate and all that stuff's good, and it should be with all the exercise, special cardio exercise that I do. That being said, if you guys ever talk to me or you know me well enough and you come to me with some sadness that has happened in your life, I'm going to change the conversation to something positive, and I'm going to be the one person you talk to that tries to bring you back up, because I don't like dwelling on, I don't like to be down. I don't like to be down. It's whatever is going to be. That's all we could say for it. But I know that tomorrow I want to live life to the fullest, and so on and so forth. So let's move to my shop, and this is Pete's new favorite spot. He loves sitting on this table. When it's hot out, the concrete table seems to be cool. And when it's cool out, maybe it holds some of the warmth of the day. So he sits on that concrete table all the time. So you guys just saw my surf ski video, and I think I was in my 16-inch wide surf ski. Well, this boat is my 17-inch wide. Usually it's my rough water boat. This is the second surf ski I ever converted, and it is a little, I mean, I don't want to say rough, but it's a little rougher than the other one inside. You can still actually see some of the epoxy resin where it didn't even get coated with the paint. It probably was clear and now has yellowed with time. Could just get another coat of top coat and it'll look good. I believe this boat is going to get sold, or my buddy Brandon, who is using the 18-inch wide boat, is going to move up to this one and we'll sell the 18. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of one of the boats to get an updated version of this boat. Like, I want a lighter, probably faster, better surfing version of this boat for my rough water boat. So we're going to make a trade, and to make it all work out, we're going to convert a couple other boats for some other people. Now, this video is not going to be about the fiberglass work. What it is going to be, so this boat converted, this is a heavier layup. This is Stellar's Advantage layup. And this boat started at 32 pounds. And being one of my earlier conversions, I didn't know how heavy I had to lay up the fiberglass for it to work. This boat probably weighs close to 40 pounds converted, which is heavy for a surf ski. The next lighter layup is 26 pounds, and converted, I probably, I keep it under 30. I would say it's definitely 10 pounds lighter in this boat. And it doesn't sound like a lot, 10 pounds, whatever. I mean, but at the end of a race, when you have to load it back on your vehicle or carry it a distance or something, that 10 pounds makes a world of difference, because you're done after a race. So, you know, we have the 3 walls done in this shop, but I need a place to store them. And if you guys know, my other shop had those pulley systems that lifted the surf skis up into the ceiling. Well, some of the other surf skis are showing up at the end of this week. Today's Wednesday, and I think they show up Friday. So I need to get 3 of these slings hung up here in the top of the shop. So what I'm gonna do is, I have old scaffolding. So I didn't pay for heavy construction scaffolding. Oh, look at the quail. I don't know if you guys see them running off. There's like 20 of them over there. And let's see if you guys see. Pete won't mess with them unless there's a squirrel walking with them. Then he won't care. He's seeing something moving, and the only time he'll ever run towards them is if there's a squirrel. But I have this old scaffolding. So I have 4 sections, so I'll be able to go 2 levels up. I can't speak right now. But we can go 2 levels up. That'll get me up there. And so I think I'm gonna finish the day building the scaffolding, and then tomorrow we'll get those 3 slings hung. Now, initially, there's gonna be ropes from the slings hanging down in my shop, which I cannot stand. I think we'll have to then, in a later video, paint that wall in the shop. Get rid of that. I cannot stand that putty color they used. Paint that, and then I have one 110 volt or 120 volt winch. Now, I would love to find a lighter duty winch, so I may actually look online and see if there is something like that. But what I want is to eliminate the rope and the pulley and then have a winch of sorts that does each boat to a switch on the wall that I can raise and lower my boats. I plan on owning 3 at any given time, but I may hang like 5 slings if I'm converting boats for other people, or if I have other surf ski friends that are in town for something, a big race or something like that. So why not have the storage? I already own the slings. Like I said, I think I owned maybe 8 of them at one time when I was converting them, and then I kept holding on to ones that I really liked their colors or something. I just had a hard time selling them. Emotionally selling them. They sold relatively easy. But I'm gonna get that scaffolding set up, and then tomorrow we'll get started on those slings. And another thing, I might even squeeze that out in the same video, is, you know, today is also the day. This is probably gonna come out before that video, but the albinos started hatching today. So that video is coming, or it already came out. I don't know which one's gonna be done first, but I think this one is going to be. But we're not gonna get into that, but I am very excited about that. I cannot stand all the stuff in my house that's not done. And, oh, get some light going on in here. I just had the door open, the temperature's so nice outside. I have patio furniture that I'm sitting on. I have a plastic table in my dining room. It's driving me crazy. So what I'm going to do, get some lights on for you, is do one simple thing. Is right here, I need a sideboard or a small shelf unit right there, because I don't want a box in my house. So I want to start getting my house done. I know that I said before in another video, I'm supposed to get all my furniture from the other house, but until the house sells, all that furniture is just sitting over there, and I'm living in like a construction site, or it feels like I'm camping in a house. So this little project would make me happy, and I think I'm gonna do it in the same style as, I'm sorry guys, it's every room we're walking into is dark. And while we're doing the video, of course, I'm gonna look because I wanna see if that albino hatched out. But I'm gonna do it in this same style, corral boards, because whatever little shelf unit I build, I think all I want is a floor and then one shelf. So it's just a simple box, maybe a divider in the middle. I just need to put my Starlink Wi-Fi, my internet thing there, and then I have a picture to go above it, and maybe some little small things or whatever on the shelf unit, but just, you know, something to make it feel more like home. So maybe we'll do that in this video as well. I think that would be cool. All right, guys, tomorrow morning we'll have that scaffolding set up. All right, guys, it's the next morning, and I reviewed the footage of what I filmed yesterday, and I mean, I forgot to mention that one of the key things, I always forget to review the footage, and it's important because I'm a bad storyteller. I love telling stories, but I will start telling you a story about a truck, and then start talking about the friend in the truck, and then start telling a story about something me and that friend did way back, and then blah, blah, blah. Like, I never finished the first story, rarely finished the second story. So I kind of went off in another direction. I should have said I'm 48 years old. So 48 years old, so I fit into that that age group where they're having issues. And I should mention that, you know, my dear friend Rob Arrington, Deer Meat for Dinner, you know, I went on that trip with him to Guyana, and shortly after that trip, he had a stroke. And he did have some of the paralyzation and had to work back on his speech and stuff like that. So it hit very close to home when it happened. So I could say in the last 2 years, I've had 2 friends that have had strokes, and 2 friends that have had brain aneurysms, which is basically like a stroke that went obviously much further, and you have some bruising or bleeding or whatever on your brain. And I should not have said whatever, because those friends have lost their lives. We've lost them because of that. And it can happen just randomly. And so I want Tom to name this video not, you know, Jerry had a stroke, but live life to the fullest, because every day matters. So that's why I went in the house and started saying, like, at the end of my day, I'm sitting in something that I'm not happy with. So I need to make that a place where I'm happy. And, you know, I started talking about the surf skis because the surf skis make me happy. It's how I deal with stress. Also the fishing. That's why I'm so stressed about the channel not liking the fishing, because, you know, if I'm working through my week and I know Tom says, all right, I need 2 videos, or I need 3 videos, we need to get ahead again. I would love to go fishing and get rid of stress, but if Thursday I could go fish or work on another video, I have to not fish and work on that other video, because, so I wanted to do the YouTube thing and it not feel as much like work, and it's looking like it's gonna have to feel more like work. But I was warned that by all my YouTube friends, Rob Arrington included. And I also, in that Q&A, I saw that I forgot to mention, he is the one that pushed me to start this channel. And he is the one that, like, when we went to Guyana, it was supposed to be a trip that would launch the channel, and we ended up on that trip on 2 different boats. And I can't thank Rob enough for that. So hopefully, Rob, if you hear this, you see this, thank you. Thank you. It was a trip of a lifetime. I was stressed out with everything going on then. It was amazing. I'll never get a chance to do it again, unless you invite me back. But we didn't launch the channel with that trip because we were on 2 different boats, and his cameraman was on his boat. So I was almost not in the video from that trip. But I mean, I caught just about every dream fish on my bucket list. Well, at least all the South American ones. So back to today's video, because again, I'm sidetracking, but I have my scaffolding set up. And I was gonna do 2 tiers of it, but I think that was gonna make me too high. And I'm not sure if I mentioned something about that light. I believe I did, maybe. But the rope goes from, let's see, that's the double pulley, that's the single pulley, so I have it backwards. But the rope has to go from that back pulley to this one, and then it comes down, and it uses this little clutch system to lock the ropes in or make you be able to pull them up, and I'll show you how that works later. But the rope has to travel on that. That light is in the way of the rope traveling past that pulley, because later we'll remove the clutch system and the rope has to travel along the ceiling to the peak where whatever winch system we use is. And there'll have to be a winch there and there. I mean, basically those stripes, the boats can be 4 foot separated. I don't think they are separated by that much in the other shop. In fact, they're quite closer together. But I have no idea of knowing what framework is up there. I can only assume that because that stripping is there, there's some wood behind that for me to screw to. So, I mean, we're not gonna figure that out until I start screwing to it. But the winches are gonna come later. Right now, I'm gonna have those ropes hanging down in the shop. I just gotta be ready for Friday when he shows up. And today, coincidentally, is Thursday. So he shows up tomorrow night. So this has to get done today. So let me, I know this is a weird light to put in here, but you know, this is not adjusted right, but you guys all know what, like, you know, an under the soffit floodlight is. So that will allow, these are not pointed correctly. I need to spread them out. I don't know where the bolts are, but you guys will see that shortly. These lights need to be pointed in 2 different directions and allow the rope to pass in between those 2 lights. And then it'll work. Or, I mean, the way that box is up there, there's no way to eliminate that. This is really the lowest profile light I could use. It's not the proper lighting for here, but if I put some LED flood bulbs. I can mess with the bulbs and get the light to kind of spread out. The lighting in here is really poor anyway. Those are all like, it's almost like mood lighting in this shop. So we're gonna have to work on the light altogether in here. So well, whatever, if that one's a little different. So I'm gonna get up there, change out the light. I'll show you guys that when it's done. And then we're gonna have to get these 2x4s. I brought that boat in there so I could figure out where in the ceiling the 2x4 needs to be, because the sling should be 8 foot separated, and it could be anywheres in this section here, but I would like it to be about here on this boat. This is my longest boat at 21.5 feet. So if it sits right about there, it should be right for every boat. Even if it's a little further forward, that's fine. So let me get started with that light, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, it's after lunch. I have that spreader light or floodlight installed, because again, these ropes won't hang down. They will continue to another, well, actually a wall-mounted winch over there in the peak of the roof. So the rope will have to run in between those lights, where that canister light would have been a problem. But that's basically what I'm doing. I did find wood to screw into. These boats are extremely light. This one being the very heaviest one. The rest of them will be under 30 pounds. So this is the standard kayak sling that they sell. I can turn around and get this boat up, or I can install the next 2x4 since it's slightly in the way, get that sucker up there, and then we'll get the boat up there. I'll do that right now. Okay guys, today like every day is just slipping away. I have all 3 slings done. We may have to do a 4th or a 5th in here, because I'll maintain at least 3 boats, and then I could be doing up to 3 at any given time for people. Again, I would prefer that a company did this instead of me having to do the fiberglass work. I think the fumes are really bad for you. But you see I think the shop's 24 feet long or 26 feet long. I guess, yeah, that's 8, 8, and 8, so that's 24. Yeah, I mean, I guess we've got 26, 27 to that wall, but at 21.5 feet, you do have to leave room up front for the roll-up door that's gonna be there. So that takes up some space in the shop. I believe about 18 inches after the wall thickness. So I think that's where that boat has to fit. I had a tandem at one time that was 24 feet long. So that wouldn't have fit in here. We would have had to put it in at an angle like I did at the other shop. But I'm gonna set you guys up on the tripod real quick. We're gonna pull this boat up, and then we're gonna get our materials together to at least start some of the cuts for that shelving unit inside the house. I don't know if you guys are gonna get to see it all the way up. Does that show all the way up? I believe it does. So like I said, that thing, it actually locks in place. So you don't need the sawhorses there to hold you. So that's it. And as of right now, with these strings, I'm gonna have to put these ropes in 5-gallon buckets in the way on the floor. And I'm gonna use those bright orange Home Depot buckets so I can see them and not. But already, there goes that space. You're gonna have stuff in the way already. But that's one hanging from the ceiling. It can go up a little bit higher, but it'll be nice when you have the winch there and no ropes in the way. It'll be much, much cleaner. We can go inside and look at that space again. Should I grab a good tape measure? I'll meet you guys inside. Okay, we're in the space. Now again, I have a sideboard at the other house that will go here, but it could be months until I get it over here, and I'm tired of living in a house with cardboard boxes as furniture. So we're gonna build this, and it could be used for potted plants on the front porch or in the bar area or something like that later. So we'll build something and it'll have another home later. So it's not wasted effort. So instead of going as large as the other sideboard, we could do something that's 48 inches and I think only like 32 inches tall, or we could go as high as 36. I don't think I want a middle shelf. So let's just do 32. I think the bottom floor I'll set up like 3.5, 4 inches off the floor, and we'll create some sort of visual thickness to the top shelf as well. So let's go and dig through that lumber. Come on, Petey. I think I said before, like projects like this little shelf unit, these are the things that these are like fun to build. This is like going to Walmart and picking up a Lego set. I don't know if any of you grown-ups like Legos, but if a kid comes over and says they like Legos, I've got plenty in the attic. I love building Lego sets. It's just like a three-dimensional puzzle for me. So we have all of this really nice thick stuff. These boards right here, which we can go through here. These, I can move the chop saw over here and make a few cuts. I think if we make it just 2 boards deep, that's a workable thickness for now and later. And I think I did briefly show you that shelf unit that's in the office. I think I'm gonna build it in that same general style. So if I make some of the basic cuts, and then tomorrow we'll have to use the table saw to tie the boards together and create a little more strength in them. But I'll cut, and then once I have it kind of mocked up, then you guys will join me again. All right, I have most of the lumber cut here. This should be the 2 shelves. It should be the depth of 2 of those put together. And they're gonna look real rustic, like an old crate. And I can lightly sand this or pressure wash this to clean all this lumber off. Those should be the sides at 32 inches tall. And if you could picture a cabinet where it has like a toe kick or something, like where the bottom shelf is 3.5 inches off the floor, but is also closed off so dust doesn't settle underneath that 3.5 inches. I have that for the bottom one. Well, let's use the one without the knot hole on the bottom. This one for the bottom one. And this one can be for the top shelf to also give it strength. We will also use those 2 4-foot boards to, on the top shelf, give it strength on the back, and the bottom shelf will give it strength on the top. So those will also go in there. The thing we want to do is these side panels. These boards are about the same. You know, these corral boards are not the same exactly. This one's about 1/4 inch off of that one. Well, I guess they're both like that. I think these 2 are going to be the longer of the 2. We want to put them together almost like a crate. So I want to get some of this lumber that's ripped in half like that to that length, and let's say so far up, screw that in on the outside. It's part of the look that I want. I want it to look like I'm reusing an old crate or something, and I can do that on the top as well. So that way I can tie my sides together, and I could tie my shelves together by doing that along the bottom of the shelves. The only difference is on like the bottom of the top shelf, we'll have a board here. And like I said, to create some thick visual thickness to the top shelf, I'll have that half board there. So I'm gonna have to start it roughly there and stop it roughly there. So I'll take that measurement, obviously. And once I tie these boards together, then I can start screwing everything together. And what I'm gonna use to screw it together, it was sitting on the golf cart there, and then I moved it. I just fed all the animals, so I was using the golf cart, is a finish screw, a finish head screw. It's very small. Once I screw it all together, you almost won't see that there are screws in this at all. They'll kind of just disappear. They do have those coated for exterior, but I don't plan on having this in full rain. It's either gonna be on the front porch or in the bar area later. So it's just gonna be in my house until. All right, I'm gonna get these boards tied together, and then I'll show you what I meant when I said I was doing that. All right, it's pouring down rain. It's a good thing I'm working on an inside project. That worked out perfect. And of course, like all projects, I changed my mind right in the middle of it. This is gonna be the top shelf, and this is the bottom of it. So that's how you would see it as the shelf thickness. So instead of doing those boards on the sides, I decided to leave them clean and put what tied the front and back half underneath the shelf hidden, and also hidden on the bottom shelf. And now I just need to, I guess I could put it on time lapse, or I could just screw this sucker together and show you guys it done. It's gonna be the same, I promise. One time. All right, guys. Now, I have to apologize because I don't know when this video comes out compared to others, but the albinos are hatching. So I've been in and out of the house, checking on the albinos, and then taking calls from friends, talking to Kenan. He wants to come check them out, and some other guys. So it's been a huge distraction, and I kept working. And then I was talking to someone on speakerphone while I was building it. So the shelf unit is done. So, I mean, I have artwork that's gonna go over the other one. Obviously that can't be hung until it's here because I don't know where the other one centers on that wall. But I mean, for just a quick sideboard that we can use later, looks pretty decent. Looks like a good piece of furniture. I mean, I only have a couple things that were in some boxes. Obviously I don't have all my shelf stuff to put there, but at least it's not a cardboard box in my house. And now when I walk by, I won't be so stressed out because I have boxes for furniture. No, come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. I think I said in this video, I just fed everyone today. Today was chicken day, and I just fed the Demerles, and I love these little guys. This is the little female. Oof. They are just so... You guys know that I don't handle my animals like an incredible amount. Like, they're just awesome. The male is exactly the same way. Like, for something you never handle, I can just pick her up. She's calm as can be. She is just calm as can be. She holds on really, really well. Where you want to go back in your water? Where are you going? Oh, there's his tail. Yeah, he was just out, and then I took a phone call. I wanted to show you him. He's really gained a lot of size. He's got to be at least twice her size now. We're gonna walk out to the dock. I fed the fish this morning, but we can feed them again. And I just want to finish up this video. God, look at my, walking by, my male albino. Oh, of course he just moved. I think I showed you guys at the beginning of the video that I can't wait to build his and her next enclosure. And as soon as money frees up, I think we're gonna remove this above ground pool, and well, obviously after shop and bar area and everything else, but instead of closing in that front porch, I think we're gonna remove this and build like a greenhouse and build the albinos into it, all the babies, the raise ups, maybe a little swimming pool thing in the middle, not swimming pool, but a pool for them to swim in there. Maybe some little water feature or something like that in that room. Just a place where I could let all the babies swim and not worry about them getting behind any other cages. We'll have to think about that. But tomorrow morning is when I go to get my blood drawn and checked. So we're gonna figure out whatever happened, and if it's a problem or if it's nothing. Obviously, I'm a guy. I feel like it's nothing, but you never know. Fish are doing great. I can't wait till we start the next year and start working on the pond. I know on that Q&A video some people mentioned, when are you gonna do something with the pond? I want to, but there's only so much time in the day, and it's just me. Sometimes my mom, but most of the time just me. All right, guys, so on a better note, I just got a phone call from my buddy John. He is already driving down, and like I said, the reason for doing these slings was the opportunity to get that new boat, and he's on his way with it. It'll be here tonight. So actually, I'm gonna end this video on that high note. When the boat arrives, I'll show you pictures of the new boat. Maybe I'll lower it, this one from the sling, and show you the difference real quick between the two. And I'm really excited. It's like a brand new, like 2023 model that just came out last year, end of last year. So I'm very excited to get my hands on one and start cutting it up. I'll show it to you guys next. All right, everyone, all right, that's better lighting. I am in the shop. First thing this morning, I went to the doctor's and I got my blood work done. You're gonna make fun of me. I almost passed out. Well, she tried one arm, got a little blood, like a little, the little vial or whatever and a half, and I started feeling a little dizzy, and they always have difficulty getting my vein or whatever to get my blood. So then she tried the other arm, and then I started totally nodding out. I think I almost passed out. So I'm sure it was amusing for them. A somewhat strong guy passing out just about in their room. Fun. But then that kind of alerted them, since whatever's going on could be heart related. So then they did an EKG, and that scared them even more. So now they say that either their machine is out of calibration and is reading it wrong, or I have life-threatening levels of potassium and electrolytes, which when I looked it up, it's either leads to kidney failure or some sort of heart disease. But I'm going to get another EKG done. That's what they recommended. That's all you can do. So the next doctor visit. But remember I said, looking forward to positivity. My old boat, and my buddy John's there with his truck. You see he's got surf skis loaded up on it. And he brought my new boat. We can't thank John enough. He helped make this happen. He drove the boats that I'm converting to me. He made most of those deals happen, mostly because he needs another boat converted. But hey, when you find something you love. So this is the new boat. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite color. I'm not gonna say that's my favorite color either. I feel like these are like the Ferraris and Lamborghinis of the paddle world, and the colors should be more exciting than white and baby blue. They should be, I mean, red's kind of exciting, but. So you see what it's supposed to look like. The bucket, and it's got a cup holder. And this is what works the rudder when you are paddling. And then, now remember, this was a very early boat for me. I don't put those handles on it anymore, but where I have to put the steering, where these new boats have these molded in handles, so I don't have to do anything to this side, that can stay. And I have to build my steering plate off of that and slightly back. So I'll use those mounting points to my advantage and have to do it that way. But all this stuff comes out, and that's the floor. I cut all of that. Sorry about that rope in the way. I cut all that stuff out and then do my modification. But what's the advantages of the new boat over the old boat is the rudder is moved significantly further forward from the old boat. That means that when I'm surfing a wave, the rudder will be in contact with the water more than that one, because usually if you're surfing a wave, the tip of your craft could be up in the air, actually on the other side of the wave when they're 21. I think this one's like 21.3, where that one's 21.6. So it has a better likelihood of being in the water. It also, when you do a buoy turn in the middle of a race, will have a sharper turning radius because of that. The seating is significantly further forward than that boat. The front of the cab is about the same, or the bucket, if you want to call it this whole area, the cockpit or whatever. The front is, but this one has a football field of area in front of it that's not necessary, where at the end of the day, this one's not going to have that. The drive system's going to be sitting pretty far forward into the bucket, or the cockpit, which is fine. The fact that I'm sitting further forward, this boat, when I give it the beans, as Vince likes to say, will get a little light in the bow. And when a boat gets light in the bow and starts planning its stern, a lot of its energy is just going into lift, and it creates a plowing effect instead of staying level. It's always its fastest when it stays level. So with a little more weight forward, this boat has a better chance of achieving a greater speed with less maintained energy. And the entry, I mean, there's a whole bunch of small little stuff like that. That has more of a typical kayak entry, where this has more of a cutting entry. And the length of a boat, to some degree, has a lot to do with its overall speed it can achieve. So the fact that this one is contacting the water sooner than that one, it's 3 inches shorter. So that difference probably evens out. But it has a better cutting bow. This is more of a knife edge, and that one's more of a soft entry. So a lot of improvements on the new boat, and converted, it's going to be at least 10 pounds lighter, which is going to be amazing for us. Not that that boat hasn't won a lot of trophies for me, but I think that's the end of this video. We'll probably walk over to John's truck and look at the beautiful boats up there. Like I said, you know, like this Falcon, I believe is his wife's, maybe? Is this Falcon's gonna be Kim's?
No, that's Beth's.
Beth's. It's beautiful.
Beth for a card.
Oh, that's right. You left your wife's.
My wife's Falcon is at home, or at Hernando. Yeah.
Okay, so he actually had too many boats on his rack when he went and picked mine up, so he had to leave his wife's there to get mine to me, because I really wanted to finish this video with that. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you soon.